Welcome back to my Star Wars Expanded Universe chronological review series. Today I'm covering The Shadow of Freedon Nadd, which could also be called Arca Jeth Recording. This was written by Ryder Windham and published in 2007. It takes place in 3998 BBY, and it's a short story that was published by Del Rey. Essentially what this story is it's a recording by Arca Jeth retelling the events of the original Tales of the Jedi issues, both 1 to 6 and the Freedon Nadd Uprising as well. So it takes place a little bit after, because Arca Jeth has found out more of what was going on there, and so since he didn't really know the whole picture in the comics, here he's clearly taken a step back and been able to study and parse what exactly was going on Onderon on his missions there. So this recounts the stories from Arca's point of view. And we get some additional insights here that I don't think we had before. We knew that Freedon Nadd killed a Jedi Master, but in this story it also mentions that he killed his own Jedi Master 6 centuries prior. So I don't think we knew that before. So that means Freedon Nadd killed approximately 2 Jedi before leaving for Onderon. I don't believe that was information given to us before. So Arca Jeth mentions that and notes that. Then he talks about how Freedon Nadd was on the planet for centuries, as we know, and that 4 centuries later, his 3 apprentices went to Onderon and then discovered that Aminoa was using the dark side, and so he went to intervene, and once the light was cast onto Aminoa, she perished as the Sith fled her. Then he talks about Amin and Freedon Nadd's spirit taking control of him, and he talks about Amin's death, and he talks about how Freedon Nadd says the Jedi are doomed, essentially, and then vanished. He also mentions Satel and Alima Cato, and mentions that the Naddists, as I called them during my review of the comic series, are actually called the Krath, a secret society that essentially worships Freedon Nadd almost, or at least is strict and rigorous followers of his teachings and of the Sith. They're like a cult. And so he mentions that the Krath exist, and he mentions Satel and Alima Cato. So that means enough time's passed that he's aware of all that, because I don't think he was aware of them by name or the Krath Society by name in the comics, or he could have been, because while he was being tortured by them, he could have heard conversations, but at least weeks or months have passed as he's recounting this event into his personal holocron, which is what this short story is. So we get some additional insights into what his thoughts were during these events, and at the end, it's very interesting because it mentions that he took Freedon Nadd's body and buried it deep and dark in some tomb, and he hopes to the Force that no one ever finds it. This is very nice. This is Ryder Windham being a master of continuity, because Freedon Nadd's tomb is later sought after in several video games. I believe KOTOR, SWOTOR, and some of the Jedi Knight games all revisit Freedon Nadd's tomb. And so Ryder Windham being a master of continuity is foreshadowing that there will be this pursuit for Freedon Nadd's tomb. So I really liked how it mentions that personally Arca Jeth was the one who is trying to take the tomb and bury it deep where no one will ever find it. It's almost Lord of the Rings-esque, right? Buried the guy deep in the tomb where no one will ever find it with the sword. And so I really liked that. I thought that was very interesting, and I don't think in any other source material other than this story it's mentioned that Arca was the one who personally sealed off Freedon Nadd's tomb. And then again, I like the foreshadowing to how everyone will be looking for this tomb later on. So I really like what Ryder Windham did with this story. Is it essential though? Not at all. It's completely skippable. All it does basically is summarize the events of the Beast Wars, from the original Tales of the Jedi series and the Freedon Nadd Uprising. It's summarizing that from Arca's point of view. Yes, there's a couple new insights, new thoughts that Arca shares with what he's feeling, but it's only 2 pages. It's found on pages 17 and 18 of the Essential Guide to the Force, and it's fluff. It's fluff and filler, but fun fluff and filler nonetheless. That's a tongue twister there. So I would give this one approximately 3 out of 10. It's not essential, but again, it's recounting really solid events from the comics, so it's hard not to enjoy it and enjoy getting more of Arca's perspectives on that in this story. So, overall it's fun, fine, fluff, but skippable. If you want to have this story read to you, the YouTuber The Revanchist, Marcel Ryan, on YouTube has a reading of this story. It's only like 7 paragraphs long. I think his reading's under 4 minutes on the story. And he does a great job reading it. He reads it with Arca-Jeth's voice and tries to imitate the voice used for Arca-Jeth in the Tales of the Jedi audio drama, so that was really cool. And so he does a really great job with the story, and that will be linked in the description. So if you want to check out the story for yourself, the best way to do that is listen to the reading of the story, and that will be linked down below, as always. So what did you guys think of this story? Did you think it was better than I did, or did you think it was worse than I did? Is this just fun fluff? Or is this unnecessary? Let me know.
Honey.